driver side floor time. Just as a recap on other videos regards attachment points for the floor, other than the obvious ones around here, there's some small strip here which returns onto the inner box section. You have a strip of spot welds up here for the front of your seat brace, and I can already see on this one that the chances are that I will need to replace the edge of that seat brace as well, because it was rotted from the inside out then, the bottom of the brace. You have a small strip here. These are the oval cutouts that you see underneath the seat brace, and there's attachment points around there, and one straight down the back, which then takes us on to the rear box section again, which we did some of yesterday. I've already cut away some of this, so I've already took away this section, which I will actually keep as a template to renew the piece. And this is actually this part, which on this side was in surprisingly good condition. This put up a fight to come out, so we'll keep that as well. It's got the curves on it, a bit better than a cardboard one, and the curve's not always the same, so we'll dress that off. Metal wise, we seem to be pretty good in here, so I don't think I'll need to replace any of this. I've already started making inroads to cut out the box section. I've took a slice, so we'll be taking this off, and I've already drilled out some of the spots, and we'll see the damage in here. The most critical one's going to be repositioning of this bolt hole for the subframe, which needs to be perfectly flat in this plane, and you won't see it until I get it out, but the brace that should be here comes up. There's a return. This captive nut should have an extension here that holds the brace in another two spot welds. These are all gone. You can see on this side we've had a lot of damage with people jacking it up. This floor is just so brittle. And this side, when we get to it, when we do the inner sills and so on, is going to be really fun, because this side has had the cover sill on it. And as we can see, the cover sill's been put across the top of, well, nothing. There's nothing being done to reinforce the structure of the car, which is why cover sills typically are the devil. There's your middle sill, that's all that's left of it here, nothing, and yet someone put a cover sill over the top of it. Easy way to hide. The old scam used to be bolt the seat down, that way you can't see it underneath here either, because the MOT tester's not looked off the seat. Personally, I think they should hit everything with a hammer. So let's go on. I'm going to go and get this lot out now, and we'll see how bad it really is. Well, the carnage continues. I've pulled out everything I can. I've cut back to where we've got some solid metal, and while it seems like it's a lot of patchwork, I'm quite happy that the structures that are left are reasonably solid, and I did manage to save the mounting point here and here, so I can get a datum to fit the other one, but the rest of all the structure that was up here is gone, including, oops, ah dear. It's the simple things that you appreciate, but you can't do it anymore. Like getting your hands to go where they should. Structurally, this is simply a goner, so we'll need to make a new one, and that will insert in there. So we'll put a patch piece in there when I fill in the rest of the extra drilled parts for the spot welds that are drilled out. This will need to come all the way across to here, and there should be a part like this across here which we will need to replicate. And what I'll be doing with that one is I'll be having a straight edge all the way down here, because that's exactly what it should come up to, is a flat surface. So we have this, we'll get some self-tappers in it, and just a sheet of metal, just to make sure we have it coming up to where it should be. That way we'll be able to spot weld the floor on flat. I guess it's time to go make some patch pieces and at least get it to some sort of sensible state. One thing I note is these are not the same thickness as these. These are actually substantially thicker. So just bear that in mind when you go to repair these things, and that is a structural consideration. They were made that thickness for a reason. Like a lot of modified cars that we've seen, you know, the engineers that design them did actually get it right. And it's one of the things that always fascinated me about these cars. The engineering that went into these cars, everything was done on draft paper, drawing boards, slide rules. What they achieved is absolutely fantastic. We kind of take it for granted these days with 3D modelling, but 3D printing, everything else. We produce fantastic structures. But when you look at what these guys were doing at the time, you can't do anything but actually admire what they achieved. Engineering at that point was a really, really true art. Something that I think we miss these days as we go into the softy world. But there you go, nostalgia over for today. Time to go start beating some metal. Now, the thicker gauge metal, that actually did take me a little bit longer to fabricate than I had planned. Now, as I said, make sure you spend as much time as you can. Now, that's probably taken me about an hour to make this piece. I know it doesn't look much, but by the time you trim it, and I've still got a little bit to do. But that's it, pretty much shape ready to go in. I just need to do a cardboard template at the other side, and we will make the other hole. Now, as we can see, it's not exactly as I need, so there's some other bits got to come out here, but we'll get to that shortly. This is actually what I've been using for checking the heights. Not very high tech. I have one hinged bolt into there. The right angle is just to stop this flapping, which it would do, and I'm just resting it on top of the bits that aren't faulty. And I can go back and forward and check the height all the way along. So that when we come up to the piece, we know that overall it's sitting in the right place. Time for a break. While I'm having the break, we can see the function that the bracket served. So now we have to get the subframe. We'll need to mount the subframe on, and I'll mark up the hole for here, and once we get the rest of this on, we'll mark up the hole for here. We need to make, wherever I put it, we need to make another one of these. We go across this and make it the same as at the other side. So that is one of the last pieces we'll need to do, and we'll need to rebuild this section from here. and we will rebuild this section around here all in one. That's the outer skin. But these brackets, this thing is actually two skins stick. It's not just one piece. That's your main structural piece. And the skin coming around here adds extra bit of strength to box it in. Now, underneath here, under this bit, is the cone section that you will see inside the car. And someone actually sent me a picture of their shell with this bit split away, which is why I was checking what the metal was like down here, because if this bit's weak, everything just collapses. And to be honest, at that point, you're probably better looking for a better shell than beating on the one that you have. Certainly, if time's important to you, if you've got all the time in the world, fill your boots. I've seen it done. Colin Rooney's done an excellent job of resurrecting quite a few like that. But the man hours that goes into it is absolutely scary when you're doing it as a job like Colin does. You know, it does take him a fair bit of time. But if you try to do that at home, do a bit of the weekend down again, you could be talking years before you get it finished. And of course, in between then, your motivation drops, goes back again. But we'll get the rest of this done, hopefully to the same level. Get that bit back in today. If not, it'll need to be tomorrow. And there we have it for today. Box section completed. Well, I'm dressing up. So yeah, these are not actually needed, but I'll put them in anyway. I just couldn't help myself. So we've still got this to remake, position and put in, but I'll need to wait for another day. And also we need to get the our cross member boss back in. Then we can get this skinned. And actually we're just ready for the floor. The floor in the next step is going to be quite a mess. There's a fair bit of the box section needs to repair for the lip one for the other sill. And unlike the other side, I'm not going to have anything to clamp to for a datum for this side. So I'm going to be relying on these holes and the position at the back, position the floor up. Luckily on the expressed replacement panels, you can actually see where these have all been drilled out. As you can see, I've already got everything marked to come out. So this will literally fall apart. None of this is any good. So it'll be interesting. Just in case anybody was wondering why I went to the extreme of the replacing the floors instead of patching. Well, there you have it. That's a good bit. The material was so pitted and so weak, simply not worth keeping. But quite happy with that job today. Good bit of progress. A lot further than I thought we were going to get. And looking forward to the next step.